My name is Henrik Lund, and I'm the CEO of Naturli Foods, a Danish company, actually a pioneer within the plant-based category. The company was founded in 1988, many years ago, and our DNA back then was alternatives to milk.
Excellent. So you say it's founded in 1988. How long have you yourself been involved in the company?
I've been involved in Naturli since the past 11 years. First in sales, and for the recent 2.5 years as the CEO.
Excellent. And what kind of trying to get an understanding at why Denmark is a country who loves their meat, you know, very reliant on meat, and a good Danish Viking life is beef, right? So
oh yeah.
So
home of the bacon.
Yeah, exactly. So what was the kind of motivation to, obviously back in 1988 it was starting as an alternative to milk, but it has now also the new leadership going into being like also a meat alternative company?
Oh yeah. Back then, for the first 25 years of the history of Naturli, we only had 7 products. That was 7 alternatives to milk: soy drink, rice drink, oat milk, almond milk, and so on. And back then, the reason that the company was founded was because there was a lot of people who were allergic to milk protein, and they were lactose intolerant. So the founder saw a interesting potential in that group of people, and since then the fans of Naturli milk alternatives have just grown bigger and bigger. You know, back then you could find the milk alternatives in the department for medicine and stuff like that. So when you went in there, it was almost that you needed a notice from your doctor saying, "I'm sick, cure me." So you could find it in those sections, and when you went to the cashier's desk, they would say, "I hope you get well soon." And so many things have changed. Today it's trendy. It's actually in Copenhagen area, I think it's more trendy drinking a coffee latte with oat milk than it is using it with cow milk. So a lot of things have changed, and today where we are right now, there's a lot of consumers coming into the plant-based category because they want to eat and drink more climate friendly. And that is also actually the purpose of Naturli. You know, we are one of the few brands in the world that are actually cross-category. We are in dairy, we are in fresh meat, we are in frozen, we are in dry foods, we are in confectionery. And what we believe in is that we would like to offer mainstream consumers who would like to try meat and dairy-free or milk-free day, a really good experience with that. And they can take Naturli by the hand, and we have breakfast solutions. We have everything you need for your lunch, for your dinner. When you're lying on your couch watching a good movie and you want ice cream, we have our own vegan ice cream factory. So we have everything that you need in the awakened hours of a day. We also have the snacking, the snackification that you need when you go to work and so on. So that is what we believe. We believe that plant-based food should be one-to-one experience with what you know as a consumer. To if you look in the rear back mirror, the conventional food known as animal protein. So if you choose a plant-based option, it should be as good as what you know. It should be one-to-one or actually better. And it shouldn't be priced way above the conventional stuff.
So it means that you have a meat recipe for a dish, and then you should be able to kind of more or less convert it into a plant-based dish without having to really change too much the origin of the dish.
It shouldn't be a sacrifice saying no to meat and milk. That is what we believe, and that is what we strive for every day. And that is also why we are involved in 6 different university products, science projects with the Danish universities, because you know the texture, the bite, the taste is everything, is so important if you want mainstream consumers to really dig into plant-based food. So it shouldn't be a sacrifice, it should be working one-to-one or even better. And a good example on something that works, if you ask me and a lot of the Naturli cravers out there, is our vegan spreadable. That is a huge product in the UK. And a lot of people compare it to Lurpak. They even say it's better than Lurpak. So I think we Naturli spreadable, it is 100% plant-based, but it works and tastes like butter. And I think when you manage that, that is where we want to have all the Naturli products. So every time we innovate product development, all these things, the product development team, they always look to the stars where we have vegan spreadable, and they want to produce something that is as good as that. And the ice cream is another good example on something where you tasting it, you don't think, oh, it's made out of plants, it's horrible. You would say, I can't believe that this is not made from milk, or cream. So that is actually the DNA of Naturli. Don't sacrifice on the culture and food, but just use other ingredients.
Do you think there's starting to be like an awakening in Denmark in terms of actually people to look at their footprint, not only carbon footprint, but also look about where the food is coming from? So obviously, and we have many people would not know that, but obviously, in terms of actually to foster the animal agriculture, you have to import a lot of feed from outside, because as a small country like Denmark, you would not have the space to grow all the feed that is needed to go into the system. So and it's not something that really have been talked about too much in public media kind of thing. So,
no.
but with social media, like much more things are being shared. So do you think there's a little bit more of information in terms of the Danish perspective of actually what's happening to the food, and then people might change it?
Exactly. And right now there's a lot of focus on the animal production that we have in Denmark, because the fact is that 90% of the livestock that are grown in Denmark, a lot of them fed by soy that you import from South America, where you deforest and grow soy, GMO soy, you import that to feed the livestock, and 90% of the meat produced in Denmark is for export. So that is, I would say, that is the unpleasant truth about agriculture when it comes to livestock in Denmark, that we produce so much meat that we export. We export actually our bad habits in the West to new markets, to China, to Asia. We say, you want to live like us? Eat a lot of meat and bacon. And that, if you ask me, is completely wrong, because it is not climate friendly eating or having that much livestock. So we should actually, what we say in Naturli is that we should go from feed to food. And it would be much more sustainable also for the Danish farmers, because the truth is that the Danish farmers, they owe more than 350 billion Danish kroners to banks. So it's not a sustainable business producing meat. Instead, they should grow the ingredients, the plant protein that we need for the food of the future. And young people, Generation X, millennials, they don't have the same eating habits as we have, as the parents have. They want the best from all worlds, and they don't want to listen to somebody say, hey, to grow up you need to drink half a liter of cow milk each day or your life will suck. So today it's much more broadened, They want to choose their own life. They don't watch Flow TV anymore. They are on social media. They are on YouTube. They watch TV when they want to. So it's I think it's a fantastic generation of young people nudging their parents to, hey, we need to go for a plant-based Naturli burger this evening. And I think a lot of the parents would say, this is actually pretty good. And the climate footprint is way lower than if we had eaten red meat.
Yeah, in Denmark we have a lot of wind turbines, and there's a lot of wind turbines in Denmark, and there's a huge focus on actually being green. I mean, one of the success that Denmark is like actually they have led on actually proposing to actually be positioned as a green country. But the focus has been primarily on energy, and it's saying, okay, if we have a lot of renewable energy in our energy system, then we are the leading green country. But in later years, there's been like, okay, you can't be green if you don't change the diet as well, and that has more and more been a focal point, and I guess that's kind of what you're saying, that in terms of a green diet, you know, you have to look at your food. You can't just look at the energy consumption.
No, exactly, and it is a fact, because one of the large retailers in Denmark, Coop, and the Danish Vegetarian Association in Denmark, they did a survey on why people are eating more plant-based food, and number one subject to that was climate change, eating more climate friendly, because I know if the COVID-19 was something really bad, then just wait. If we continue living, eating, drinking like we do today, the climate change will be have much more dark consequences than COVID-19. So why not start now by changing eating habits? Everybody could do something for the climate change, something positive, by changing what they eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You could start tomorrow.
Yeah, I think the COVID-19 is an interesting thing. I mean, obviously, the science is still not 100% clear in it, and it's a new virus, so you're still doing research on it and stuff like that. But it does has its root in animal agriculture, doesn't it? It's been derived from animal agriculture. So I guess one could also make another argument saying that if we were to eat more plant-based food, or we were to have tighter regulation, at least on the industry, then you will safeguard yourself, and you'll protect yourself more from all new viruses in the future that'll arise like that.
I agree completely, and that we talk and think a lot about what will the world be after COVID-19. What will the consumers look at the food they eat? We believe strongly in locally produced food. We try to source all our ingredients as local as possible. An example for that is that we have this product minced. It looks like minced beef. We sell it in Sainsbury's in the UK. When we started that up in January 2018, it was based on soy protein from North America. Today we have said goodbye to soy, and we only make our meat substitutes from small green peas, because we can source them in Denmark and Scandinavia and Europe. So why go to North America for plant protein when we have it just outside the window? So everything we do, we want to lower the climate impact of our food production, of our products, as much as possible. I really think that is something that the consumers, not in Denmark, but in the world generally, we as an industry, we need to inform them more about the products that we sell. Is this climate friendly? So we started actually by having carbon footprint on all our products. So as a consumer, you can look at our product and see, this pack of Naturli minced, it contains around 2 kilos of CO2 per kilo product. That is 90% less than minced beef. So we try to nudge and endorse everybody in the food industry to do the same thing, that we should help consumers choose more climate friendly when they do their grocery shopping.
Interesting. So obviously we go into a more kind of area of policy here, and in terms of do you think that one side you can argue that you can't blame consumers for not knowing what to do because there's very little information. It's a lot about consumerism, right? So would you support like a food labeling systems in terms of actually that all manufacturers are required to put the carbon footprint of each product, so therefore you will allow consumers to make a better choice?
Yes, exactly. I would love that, and I would also love that that you actually had a carbon tax on CO2 emission from your production, from the product, because that would also benefit eating a more healthy diet for the planet and for the climate. So I think that is the way forward, and the climate council that the government in Denmark has as a council. They suggest that actually a carbon tax is the only way to solve the climate changes that we are facing, and the fact that the Danish government want to reduce the carbon outlet by 70% before 2030.
So that'll be a car tax that runs in parallel with the EU emission trading system.
Yeah.
Interesting. So in terms of the climate council you mentioned, that's a recent new thing set up by I believe the previous Danish government. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Go on.
No, just that the government is not very interested in introducing a carbon tax because they are afraid that the consumers would that it would have a negative effect from the consumers, or you could say the voters. It's probably the last thing, but I think we need to. It is like it's not something that is very positive to talk about, but let's face it, we need to change the way we are living our lives. Consumption of material things and food, drink, everything. We need to rethink everything, also agricultural production. And that is an example for that is that we are in a very interesting science study with the Danish Technological University, actually a project that is funded by the Danish Agricultural Ministry, and that is if we can extract protein from grass, green grass, and use it for human consumption. So make products from proteins from grass. Green grass, it grows 90% of the year. You can harvest it maybe 12, 13 times a year. When you have a field of soy, you can harvest it once a year. So if we could fix this, it's a science project that is running for 3 years. It would have a major effect for planet Earth. So
that's really interesting.
We have to look into new ingredients that we can use in the food production, in the food system.
So one could argue that the humans already eat grass because we feed our cows with grass. So
exactly.
So it's the conversion system, is it, in terms of actually what's the most efficient way of converting protein?
Yeah, exactly. Why not take the short way instead of going through the animal? Because the animals, clever animals, when they need protein, they eat plant-based. So we should just go directly to the source, which is the crops, the plant protein, for sure.
Interesting. So it comes on, we're on innovation now. So as a company, how are you working with innovation, and are you working on other interesting kind of products aside from what you just explained to me?
Yes, this year we are launching 40 new products, and as I said, they need to be one-to-one with the animal alternatives that you have out there. So what we do from an innovation point is actually, because we believe much in that we need to embrace mainstream consumers with plant-based products to really be the change and make a change. So what we do is that we look at the major categories. As we said, the sleeping giants, like the dairy industry, the meat industry, and we try to how can you put it, re-energize those categories, and that is something that the retailers out there think is very, very interesting, and the consumers also think that it's very, very interesting that you can make something that tastes like butter, like a ordinary yogurt or milk or beef or a steak, and turn it plant-based and have the same experience, that you don't miss anything when you eat it for dinner or lunch. So that is what we are looking into, and there's a lot of exciting categories, and I could be very detailed, but I'm afraid that all my competitors are listening and watching this. But we have a lot in the pipeline, and we are very ambitious about these products, and we are also very we want to launch them next week if we could. But some of these products takes time because it's complicated. It's about getting the same structure in a piece of meat like you have in an entrecôte, ribeye, or something like that, because we also need those kind of products in the future if we want to replace meat, and we need to do that. I think in the future, eating red meat will be it'll be something that you can go to a restaurant and get, and it will be like a sinful luxury that you only you eat a very, very small amount of it, and you have an experience with that. But it will be a luxury, and it will be costful. And I really, really hope that the meat comes from an animal that has had a really, really good life, not being locked up in a building, but have been out on the green fields and the landscape.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting, and just I'm continuing on your company outlook, if you like. So you've talked a little bit about stuff that you are actually looking as a company. You're looking more globally. It's not just inside Denmark. So some of your products have successfully been traded in the UK and other countries. So maybe just speak briefly about what is your mission for that, around that, exporting outside Denmark.
Our mission from the start, being in other markets outside Denmark is something completely new to us. When we introduced this product, minced, the product that looks like minced beef, back in January 2018, we were not thinking about going outside of Denmark, but it went totally crazy. Everybody, all Danish consumers wanted to try this product. It was sold out every day at 10 o'clock in the morning. Nothing left. It was placed in the meat aisle at the largest retailer in Denmark. And we had to move the production after 14 days. We had to move to a larger facility and get more machinery to meet the demands. And it made so much media hype. We were on the main news at the nationwide television stations and so on. So from abroad, the media started looking, hey, what is going on in Denmark? This company has introduced something that looked like meat, but it's made out of plants. What is this? And then we got interest from the UK, from Sainsbury's. We got interest from Australia, from Woolworths. And then this adventure of exporting Danish-produced products to the world, it began there. And right now we are in 17 countries. And what is so great is that when we go abroad, people love our energy, because the people who are living and working in Naturli is not just working here. It's not just 8 to 4 work, and then we go home and put the fillet steak on the barbecue. We are living the brand, and we want to change what we eat and drink in the whole wide world. So of course we have big expansion plans for new markets. And Australia is a very, very good example. We are now in 75% of the Australian retail. We are at Coles, we are at Woolworths, and the Australian consumers, they love the Naturli products. So they crave for more Naturli products, and we strive to produce products that we could launch there, and also in the UK. In the UK, we just launched our frozen assortment, where you can get a real Swedish style, not meat but eat ball, that is gluten free. And we have, I would say, the best pizzas in the world, Naturli pizzas, Mexicana style, capricciosa style, also available now in the UK. So it is like a food revolution spreading throughout the world. And we care a lot about our brand, because it should be tasteful. It should be something, when you taste it, that you want to eat and buy again. That is very important. We are not a company that have 500 products on the shelves. We have maybe 60 products in our assortment today. So we are very strict in the innovation, that before launching a product, that it really, really works.
So quality or quantity?
Quality is everything. Taste and quality is everything.
Interesting. Just briefly as well, touch on COVID and coming out of COVID. Are you hopeful that we are not rushing out of the crisis? So actually, we don't get rid of already regulation there. We don't weaken the regulation on the animal agriculture. So we actually, there's this tendency to actually get the economy back and working straight away. That we should get rid of some regulations. Are you, from what you see in Denmark, are you worried that might happen?
Yeah, because a lot of a lot of politicians are talking about this, that because of COVID-19, humans they tend to like seek for what they know is really safe. Also, when it comes to what they eat, what we know is that during COVID-19 in Denmark, people use a lot of money on food, because every day now is like a Saturday or Sunday. You eat really, really well every day, because maybe all this will disappear because of COVID-19. So we want to have the best of it. But I think that on the backside of COVID-19, I think people will really look into not only the health of the planet Earth, because the focus on climate change will also be there after COVID-19. I'm sure about that. But also their personal health. What can I do as an individual to make sure that if we have a new pandemic, that I won't get affected by it, because my health, my body is my soul and is everything. So I think there will be like a egoistic view on your own security when it comes to health. And if you ask me, I haven't been eating plant-based always. I have been drinking milk and eating meat back in the days. But I can for sure say that for me, eating only plant-based have given me so much more energy. And I lost weight, and I look younger. Nobody believes that I'm nearly 65 years old. So I'm not 65 years old, but that was. But the fact is that instead of your body using all its energy on consumption and the digestion of meat. You know, that once there was a retailer that told me, did you know, Henrik, that when you eat a steak, you can find traces of it 18 days after you ate it, because your body has so much trouble digesting it. And I think that is one of the really big things when you go into a plant-based diet, because you realize, wow, I have so much energy during the day. You know, when you eat 400 grams of entrecôte, when you're almost done, you nearly fall asleep because you get so tired, because your body has to focus all the energy on digesting the food. And you won't have that with eating plants. You just have much more energy. And yeah, I think that the plant-based diet will really, it is no longer a trend. It is something that people really want to try. The only product, and that is for us as an industry to launch the how can you put it, the solutions for that, is that how do I make really tasteful plant-based products? Because a lot of people are saying to me, yeah, but all your products in Naturli, they are processed food. How can they be better than when you process a sausage from pork? And of course, I can say that the ingredient list on the animal sausage is twice as long as the ingredient list we have on our pea-based sausages from Naturli. But apart from that, I also believe that making a product like minced is only phase one. It starts with that you make something that for the consumer, it looks like something that you know, so you're not terrified about it. You think, wow, I can make a lasagna with this stuff, or a sauce bolognese, no problem. So that is phase one. The next phase will be much more clean label, whole food, where you use grains and yeah, all the best crops from nature, and make new delicious ingredients and food solutions that doesn't look like anything that you know from the past, like meat. And it will be I think it's transition into a new food culture. You know, when I'm taking this.
Absolutely.
And that will be the future, but of course it will take some years. But for sure, when you look at young people today, you have no doubt that the meat consumption and the milk consumption will continue decreasing especially for sure in Europe. So I'm sure about that.
Interesting. I just want to finish off on a bit on another positive note, and in terms of actually how the move to plant-based also connect with maybe other troubling issues like sausage conservation, sausage species extinction. Because if you look at a country like Denmark and you look at how much space he has set aside to nature, right? So I guess one argument is also that you could actually put a lot of land back to nature that doesn't need to be farmed. If you you'll increase the efficiency of producing food, you need less land if you go more plant-based, right?
Yeah. You need much more. We need much more nature in Denmark and less agricultural land. And you're absolutely right that producing, farming the crops that we need for the future of plant-based protein for food production will demand much less agricultural land. And if there's something that we are 5 million people in Denmark, and I think we can agree on one thing: we love nature. We love going for a stroll in the forest, or looking over the lakes and watching the beautiful trees. And we should have much more nature. So of course we need much less meat production in Denmark and less farming land, and we need the government to help the farmers that are in a debt trap with economic solution that can help them transform into maybe shutting down their farm and then do something else, or they can transform it into producing the best crops that we need in the future, and that will also bring them a more sustainable business, because I believe that they can get more money for the crops for food production than for the crops they sell for feeding animals and growing them rapidly.
Thanks a lot, Henrik. That was a really fascinating discussion. On the closing mark, has anything you just quickly want to mention that we hadn't touched on yet?
I think the future is Naturli, and I want to embrace the whole world. And of course, from our perspective, it's not black and white. People won't stop eating meat or drinking milk tomorrow, but they really need to eat and drink much more plant-based. And then it's up to me and the rest of my colleagues, my lovely colleagues in Naturli, to produce the best products that people all over the world will crave for. And we will do so. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Henrik.